Mom spends time with husband's long-lost relative, learns sickening secret. The person in question was one of her husband's long-lost relatives. He'd been serving a 12-year sentence because of racketeering and was only released a few days before showing up at their shop. Knowing his past with the man, her husband didn't want his wife to meet him, at least not yet. He also didn't want the man in the shop at that particular moment. He started by asking him to meet him elsewhere so they could talk, but the man had other things in mind. Derek talked about what transpired 12 years ago before he went to prison. Although they were the same age, Derek looked older, with a bushy beard and a muscular body covered in tattoos. He reminded Kenny of what happened before the police surrounded them, saying he'd had all the time in prison to think things over. That's when Alicia walked in. Alicia said hi to the burly man talking to her husband. She didn't focus on him much at first, thinking he was one of Kenny's customers. But seeing that there was no car in the shop except a derelict family Shelby in the back, she knew something was wrong. Kenny pulled her aside before she could engage the visitor, only for the man to come between them and ask if he could talk to both of them. Kenny was about to ask him to reconsider, but Derek cut him short. He introduced himself, talking about his relationship with Kenny and why Alicia hadn't ever met him despite him being family. He opened up about what got him sentenced to 12 years in prison and what Kenny had done before the police got to them. The secret would leave Alicia shaking where she stood. "I was running some illegal businesses which went wrong," Derek shared. "I got shot severely and would have died if my cousin here didn't open his door to me and help me dress the wounds." Seeing how shaken the secret left Alicia, he continued with the story, revealing more information that had the woman walking to her husband with glossy eyes. Derek shared that after spending a few hours at Kenny's, his cousin convinced him to turn himself in. The way he talked about Kenny, terming him as the reason he chose to reform, left Alicia in tears. She hugged Kenny tightly, kissing his cheek. But Kenny said that he, too, had a secret he'd been hiding from Alicia. He walked to the back of the shop, calling the two after him. Kenny revealed what he'd been doing behind his wife's back. He'd been working on the derelict Shelby in secret, mainly because it used to be Derek's old car, and he wanted to surprise him when he came home. He revealed that he'd kept this secret for a better half a year, working on the car whenever possible. Alicia's tears doubled as she hugged him again. In a world where some people never find their soulmates, hers was not only faithful to her but selfless in every way possible.